Hi, I'm Mike Bellevue. I'm the black powder editor of Guns of the Old West magazine, and today we're going to be shooting the Remington New Model Army revolver. Now, this is often called the Model 1858, which is erroneous. They were made in the 1860s. The final model that this one's based on was made in 1863. They're called the 1858 because there's a patent date, and that actually refers to the patent that allows this base pin right here to be captured by the loading lever to secure it, so you don't need a screw or anything like that. So we're going to be shooting this with round balls and with conicals, and we'll just see how it does. Remington produced the New Model Army revolver from 1863 until 1875. They made over 122,000 of them, so it was a pretty popular revolver back in the 19th century. And it's also a pretty popular revolver these days for cap and ball shooting, with organizations like SCORES, the Society of Remington Revolver Shooters, dedicated to just this brand. Part of the Remington's appeal to today's shooters is the solid frame design. Unlike the Colt design that's open-topped, the solid frame has a rear sight milled into the top strap. And in that regard, it's a lot more like a modern revolver. And I think it's less of a kind of a culture shock to today's shooters to pick up a Remington than it is to pick up a cap and ball Colt. Let's start off our shooting with the Remington using round balls. Well, loading the Remington New Model Army with round ball is a pretty straightforward proposition. I've got a powder measure. I've got it set for 35 grains of 3F using 3F GoX powder, and it's not that much different than a lot of the Colts you've seen me load. I'm going to put it on half cock, and that will allow the cylinder to spin. And then I'm going to fill a powder measure with 35 grains of 3F powder. I'm going to pour it into a chamber. I'm going to take one of my homemade felt wads soaked with my black powder lube. I'm going to put that over the powder. I'm going to take a home cast 4x4" diameter round ball, put that over the whole works, and then we're going to ram it home. And that's it. So I'm going to do that 5 times and leave the 6th chamber open for safety. Now there are safety notches here on the cylinder that allows you to stop it between chambers and load all 6, but I prefer to just load 5 and make sure I'm being safe. So I'm going to load 5 up and then we'll cap it. Well, the final step in the loading sequence is to cap it with my Ted Cash capper, which I'm just going to get that on, and there we go. Now we're all set. I can just put it on the safe chamber, and we got a loaded gun. Now, you can't use a Ted Cash capper with an unmodified Remington cylinder. If you look, you'll see there is no way that you can get it in there because that cut is just too small. So what I do is I modify each of the chambers with a Dremel moto tool and a sanding drum just to open it up. It does not make it unsafe, and it lets you get a capper in and out of there with no problem at all. Evil Roy is up to his old tricks, lurking in the background trying to cause trouble. So let's take the Remington New Model Army loaded with round balls and see what we can do. Now that we've given the round balls a whirl, let's load the Remington New Model Army up with conical bullets and see how they do. Well, loading the Remington with conicals is even easier than loading it with round balls. Once again, I've got it on half cock so that it spins. I'm going to load a 35 grain powder charge. I'll just fill up my measure, knock it off even, and I'm just going to pour that into one of the chambers. Now I'm going to take a conical. This is from a Lee mold. It's got a 4.50 inch diameter to fit inside the chamber mouths on Remingtons and Colts. I'm going to get started, get it under the rammer, and then just ram it home. And it's as easy as that. And as you can see, I've taken off a ring of lead, which is what we want, so we know we've got a nice firm fit. So now I'm going to load 5 chambers and then cap it. That 35 grain charge, that is really the most that you can do with one of these Remingtons with conicals. And the reason for that is if you go any farther, you're just not going to be able to get the ball seated so that it clears the barrel when the cylinder rotates. That powder charge is as high as you can go. Well, let's put conicals to the test in this Remington against Evil Roy, see how they do compared to the round balls. Were very accurate. Got some cap fragments kind of jamming up my action here, but they really printed well on Roy. Well, let's put the new model Remington loaded with some conicals up against some water bottles, see how it does. That'll do the trick. Let's finish up with the bad guys view of the Remington New Model Army revolver.